Hi, caregivers. Today's topic is long-term care. As always, the information provided should not be used as a substitute for advice from appropriately qualified licensed practitioners of medicine, psychology, ADA, law, or financial planning. On the expanded disability scale, we are at a level 4, which is self-sufficient. So when we talk about long-term care costs, it's really when we're taking care of somebody that's unable to perform 2 of the 6 basic activities, which are dressing, bathing, eating, toileting, continence, transferring, and walking. And there's about 70% of people who are over age 65 require long-term care, and about 30% of those that are receiving long-term care are between the ages of 18 and 64. So it's a huge issue because people are living longer, and it typically affects females more than males. So as always, we'll link the resources in the comment section below and on the website. I've looked at a lot of long-term care providers. AARP site is pretty helpful. NerdWallet has a lot of information on it as well, along with other internet sites. So Art posted some statistics which are pretty telling. The median U.S. cost for shared room at a nursing facility is $235 a day, while a private room is $267 per day in 2015. And then the people that are employed by the U.S. nursing care facilities are 1.64 million, and nursing home residents getting Medicaid are about 62%. So the total U.S. spending on Medicaid and nursing home is $55 billion. So when you think about long-term care costs, on average it's $140,000 a year, depending on which state you live in. And when you look at the breakdown of the costs, again, kind of going back to the last slide where it was about 62% on Medicaid, you can see that the majority are paying zero. But if you have any savings, you're probably going to end up spending anywhere between $50,000, that's about 13% of the population, 11% of the population is $50,000 to $150,000. And then 4% are $150,000 to $250,000, depending on the type of disability that you're taking care of. So the Medicare.gov site has a great resource for doing a cross comparison for nursing homes. When you go in, you just type in nursing home compared to Medicare.gov. It'll take you right to the next site, and then you just type in your zip code, hit search, and then you'll find in your search results a nice tool that you can look at nursing homes in your area. And you can do a comparison. You can also look at which ones accept Medicare or Medicaid. Find out, you can search by overall rating. Let's go back and hit these two to compare. And then update. And you can see a nice cross-reference. You can look at their health inspections, staffing. I also encourage you to look at Yelp and Google reviews. Some of the information that's on the site is basically just from regular inspections from the government, but you can have first-hand experience if you go to the reviews on the web. This shows you proximity of the different facilities. Again, you'll see the ratings. So it's a very useful, very intuitive tool. Next slide. So with that, you can understand why there is a huge industry right now for long-term health care coverage. And again, this is supposed to be a high-level overview. It's not something that I was able to do when John was well, and it's pretty much impossible once you get a diagnosis to get the long-term care coverage, but it's something that it might be an option if you're still in a self-sufficient mode. There's another one that just came across as I was doing some research, and it's short-term coverage. And so it's sort of like it's a little bit of a middle ground, so to speak. So you'll have short-term coverage, which is lower in price. You don't have a deductible. It's easier to qualify for, but you won't be using it for a long term. So it's only for something, similar to like short-term health coverage. You're only going to use it for, 3 months to a year. It's not something that you're going to end up having, somebody be able to use for 5 years. So again, this is something I'm not terribly familiar with, but it just came up last month in February. Medco partner with ARP. I don't know much about Medco, but they look like they have a A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. A couple complaints, but there wasn't really much information on that. So the nice thing about the short-term care coverage is that it is very similar to the long-term care coverage in that it will cover home health care, adult daycare, assisted living, nursing home, and hospice care. So if you go to the site, I was just curious as to what it would be as far as a cost. So going to Michigan, I'll just throw general dates in here. Let's say we want a little more. So it looks like, again, this is probably without somebody that has pre-existing conditions, about $100 a month for care for, up to $280 a day for up to a year. So, again, something. So for the Plan, Do, Check Act, I would recommend, if you can find long-term care insurance, just to look into it and make a decision on if it's something that would fit, if that's what you want to do. Otherwise, as far as making sure that you're financially able to manage this, the condition, just set up your living situation which best fits your lifestyle and your financial needs, and then try to make sure that you're ready for the next phase of caretaking and keep adjusting as the disease progresses. So in conclusion, I just want to end with a quote from Stephen Wright, which is, be nice to your children because after all, they're going to choose which nursing home. So I hope you enjoyed the information and you take care of yourself. Thanks.